Hey, aloha everyone. Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and StandTogetherHawaii.com. I'm here with the arborist, Robert, and he was my first interview after when the Maui fires happened, one of my first interviews. And Robert, I'm just so grateful that you're on with me again. Thank you for joining me.
You're most welcome.
So I want to do a quick shout out to Larry, who sent me some books. He sent me The Destiny of the Soul, The Science of Channeling, and Buddha's uh, Narrow Net for Levitation. So I'm excited to read these. Thank you, Larry, for sending that to me. Also, shout out to the Voice of Kona Radio, 100.5 FM. If you're listening on the islands, mahalo so much for joining in and listening and following your heart. You can join me at standtogetherhawaii.com, YouTube channels Blossom Inner Wellness. And then one more shout out to the sponsor of the channel, who is aceofcoins.com. If you want to lower your taxes or eliminate your tax debt completely, if you want to license your biometric your data, your face is being used by big tech, or if you want to buy Bitcoin tax free, check out aceofcoins.com. Link is in the description, ACEOFCOINS. Let's get started on this. We're talking about the LA fires again. And before I give it over to you, I'm just going to do one screen share because this is exactly what we talked about in Maui. I'm going to keep the sound off, but here is here's a tree. Look at this tree. This car is completely melted, but this tree with the leaves are still there. The house is burning down. The shrubs, the beautiful landscape isn't being touched. And this car is completely like it's melted. It's got melted rims. It's totally scorched, but not. But how did it skip the trees and the leaves? So very interesting. So I'll just end my part with that and then give it over to you, Robert.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. I've been to many of these aftermaths, as you know, and I've seen pine needles 4 feet above a car. The needles turn black, but they refuse to burn. And that car is toasted. The windows are out, the rims are melted out, all the paint's gone. I mean, they're just a husk. Even part of the engine's melted out and flowing down the street. And yet here's pine needles 4 feet from the hood, or redwood leaves. It doesn't matter what leaf, actually. And to me, the flames don't recognize the organics, lest they would burn. I think even
And
when
can you explain what that means? Because I really, when you first said this, it took me a little bit to get it. What does that mean?
and as this is just my observation, a fence post, you see it's on fire where the nails are, and the wood right next to it is burning, but the wood fire part does not spread out past the nail. It just stays in one little area. Then when this is turned off, it just goes out. I'm not even sure if there's smoke. The blackened area is right next to the nail, and it does not go up a post. I mean, I'm talking 4x4s standing straight up and down. It refuses to climb. It's just the nail that's on fire, and the wood is burning right there, but only because the nail's on fire. And then turn off the weapon and it just goes out. It doesn't keep advancing farther. And that's everywhere. All the materials that are burning. It's only because of the liquids, the water, or the hardware, the metals, the components, hardware, nails, screws, bolts, hinges, etc.
So, and when you
So I,
first said this to me, what helped me understand it, so my simple brain could get it, was that the chemistry of the fire, the actual fire, is a totally different chemistry, and
yes,
that's how it doesn't recognize the organic material to burn it, but it does recognize metal because when you put metal in a microwave, the metal sparks up, and that's and you've had 48 years of experience, 50 now, I believe.
50, yeah.
50 is being an arborist. You've been studying plants all your life. You've been to over 100 locations of these fires, Paradise, Tubbs, and other locations in California, and you've really been doing your homework on it.
Yeah, I've done 46 fire aftermaths, but 126 to all of them. And yeah, the flame to me is the flame itself is a different composition than a normal wood flame that we see in a fire, in your fireplace or wherever. It's actually different because if it was normal, the same, the wood would keep burning and it wouldn't stop. It burned the whole post or tree or whatever. It doesn't. And I've seen this, like I said, all these different trips. It's mind-boggling what I've discovered.
So
And
let
I,
me share my screen one more time because exactly what you're saying is here.
yeah,
Excuse me, with the trees not burning. Trees didn't burn. This is Paradise. I went to this fire. My mom's 20 minutes away. It was so weird. I would see complete houses just disintegrated into white ash, but then there would be another house that's not touched, not even a scorch on it. But look at these trees completely. I mean, trees are still there. That's why it's called a wildfire, not a forest fire. Tubbs Fire 2017. All the leaves are brown. They're dry, but they're not burned. But the
Yes,
houses are completely white ash. And if it's a regular forest fire, it should be black. Isn't that
that's
right?
right.
Not white.
That's right. And the Paradise Fire, that's Ponderosa pine, the #1 pine tree in California, and it burns more often than any of the other species in the whole state. It's in almost every zone we have, from the high mountains to the coastal mountains to the southern mountains and the northern mountains. Here, 10 trailer parks turned to white ash. That's one of them right there. And the fire, where'd it come from? It didn't, you look at a 360 all the way around, it didn't burn its way in there.
Mm-mm,
It's
that's
microwaved
right.
the whole place. The trees have dried out from the inside out. That's why they're a light shade of green or brown. They refuse to burn up unless they're right next to metals. That's why in the middle there, those trees did happen to burn. But I'll bet the minute the thing was turned off, they just went out instantly. Your Tubbs fire,
Wow.
I've been up there a good 10 times. Same thing. Every tree you see pretty much by the house, they refuse to burn up.
Wow. 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 I have two more. Here's LA
Yep.
and here's Maui.
Yep.
So LA, we have again white ash. This is more dark. So there's more dark black soot than the other ones I've seen, but still the trees are still there. Shouldn't they should
Yeah.
be black sticks.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
And
have branches on them.
those on Maui, I don't know the species from here, but they probably hold a lot of water. Those trees that do appear to be burned up and leafless, I'll bet those species do hold a lot of water because those are the first ones to burn internally, usually up the bark
Mhm.
and internally, like the oaks and all their water lovers. And we'll get into that.
Okay. Go. I'm going to stop my screen share and give it over to you. So take it away.
Oh, I can't do it yet. You
Try it now.
try it now. Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
I'm gonna put some of my own mountain photos in here between sections so I don't get mixed up where I'm at.
Sure.
And I won't tell people where some of these are. They're secrets.
This is beautiful.
Many people are asking, what does a real forest fire look like? I've seen this on many of my video in all the comments. This is normal looking, as far as I can tell. I've backpacked for half a century now. This is the way I see it in the High Sierra. When a forest fire comes through, it burns everything and leaves blackened poles, limbless, twigless, and of course, needleless, because that's the main combustible material of a forest fire. If it's up in the trees, which generally they do get up in the trees. It's
And
up.
you know what's funny is I tried to find a picture. I should ask Captain Matt about that because I
Oh,
tried to find a forest fire picture. I kept going 2001 forest fire picture and I couldn't find one.
no,
I wonder if they're scrubbed.
they are. They screw up. The ones you can find is back in the teens, 1910, 1915. You'll find some of those. This is my own photograph. And I've got plenty of them, 50 years of this. I've got them all over the High Sierra. But the newest ones, they never look like this anymore. So I had to show that so people would know what these things look like. This is about 3 years after the fact. The
And so it would look like if this was right after, that ground would be black, right? Not white.
yeah, yeah, black and nothing there.
Hmm.
Um, and these shrubs coming back is actually in the oak family called chinkapin. Very thick leaf, slow growing, very drought tolerant. And then, like you say, here's the first photo I've ever seen, the Tubbs fire, and this is the Coffee Park development in Santa Rosa. 4,700 homes were gone in the whole city. That's a lot in the city. But what I saw is the trees. They didn't burn. Very few did, and I'll bet the ones that did burn were the ones that held the most water. Because I see redwoods in here, coastal redwoods, even a Sierra redwood to the left, the really Christmassy looking one. Um, I mean, they should be gone with the houses. There's no black, like you said. There's actually some blue down there too. I see a pool and a tarp and something else. But
What?
this is the one that woke me up 7 years
That's what I
ago.
was going to say. How did you feel when you first saw this?
I saw this and I've never heard about all this. And then I saw this and it just didn't make sense to me. This is my background, plant kingdom. And my God, I didn't know what's going on with it. And I took it to my brother and showed him on his computer and he didn't get it. So I decided to go up there 2 months later on a Sunday. I spent the day up there. Nothing made sense. All the materials, of course, I saw too. That just, and for a year and a half, I was struggling to figure out what I'm seeing. I've never seen anything like this. I didn't understand it. And finally, I saw Matt and John's video on Paradise with Shelley, and I wasn't going crazy. Somebody else saw what I did. And fast forward to today, we're waking up everybody worldwide to what they're doing to the populace everywhere, not just California. You know, it's around the whole world.
It's all around the world. That's right.
Yep. And then a year later, I was starting to figure it out. And this was Paradise,
Wow.
of course.
Wow.
Paradise, and this is a main coniferous pine zone. All your major pines are here, from digger pine or gray pine up to sugar, ponderosa, the incense cedar, the only cedar, true cedar or false cedar we have in the whole Sierra. And there's some Sierra redwoods in there that are really nice looking, kind of short. They planted those. A couple of rows of Italian cypress on the left. Those do burn up. And I think it's because the sap in them is more fluid than the other conifers. It's the stickiest sap alive. You don't want cypress sap on your gloves. You can hardly even get your fingers pulled apart. It's so sappy. And that's the only thing I can come up with, the Italian cypress. I've seen it in other aftermaths too. Just those want to burn up, not the other conifers. No. Uh, and I had better pictures. This is the one I found though.
It's incredible.
18,000 homes were turned to white dust, and I can't find burned up trees, or very few. Usually, if they're over a metal, a house with lots of metal, or a little building, downtown area, then yeah, they might burn up. But it's just a scary thing. I'm putting a couple different photos in here so the public can see what I'm talking about before I get straight into Los Angeles fires.
Sure.
This is Big Basin State Park, the San Francisco Peninsula, where they took the whole Redwood Park away from us. And 2 years later, when they opened it, you couldn't get in there and pay cash anymore. You had to get online, get on the computer to get a day use permit to go out and play. And every time I
Wow.
tried to do it, it was booked up, even on a Wednesday. So,
Wow.
and they shrank the parking lots, closed all the trails but one short one, and they made up the lie of forest fire, of course. Well, here's the outskirts of the park. I'm standing on Highway 1 with the Pacific Ocean behind me. The fire came out that far, actually across the highway in one spot. But here's the most flammable leaf I know of, a blue gum eucalyptus. The fire went under it and refused to ignite it.
Wow.
This is fire starter. In the 70s, we make little fires in our area because they had a campground with eucalyptus everywhere. This is the easiest thing to light that I know of. And they refused to ignite. This should have been a horrific firestorm. Shows you we have a different flame. It doesn't recognize the organic matter and won't burn it.
Wow.
Yeah, this was something else. My own photograph. This is where they put an older gentleman in jail in Mariposa, California, and they're incarcerated him. And I don't know what they're going to do to him. Of course, he didn't start the fire. I went up there and spent a whole day there a year before they put him in jail. Here's your ponderosa pine.
So I'd love for
Needles.
you to share that story a little bit later when we go over the arson stuff, because that is a really interesting story.
Okay. Um, Trees burning from the inside out. This is a coast live oak, I believe. Well, oak bay wouldn't, so it could be a bay actually. They look similar when they're younger like this. This is a half mile from the mountainside where the fire was, the Kincaid fire north of Santa Rosa. There's vineyard all the way around me, half mile in every direction. Yet this tree burned from the inside out.
Wow.
There's
That
many.
is so weird.
This is a giant blue gum eucalyptus. It fell over, a good 120, 130 feet tall, no leaves burned. It burned from the inside out. This is a 7-foot diameter thing. And I believe it did that because the metal fence post you see there hammered in the ground, there's
Yeah.
one right behind it, almost touching it. And I think that post superheated and did this damage. This was cattle country, 2-inch grass, 3-inch grass at the most. The cattle eat the grass to nothing. There's no combustible materials here to warrant this kind of burn. And I'm standing on a paved road. There's just nothing around here to do this, but there it is. And for the record, I've cut trees down for 33 years. I don't know if I've ever seen a cavity in a eucalyptus tree. They compartmentalize their wounds very well. You cut a branch off, it seals up. It doesn't open up and make a cavity like a maple tree. So where does cavity come from? uh-uh. This one I
Yeah.
had to talk about also. Now we get into the extreme water lovers. This is the largest water holding capacity tree I know of, and probably the whole Western United States, a Fremont cottonwood, 4, 6 feet in diameter, sometimes 15 feet in diameter. King of the willow family, holds the most water. And this was in a spring where it's being fed plenty of water all the time. And this is what happened to it: burned from the inside out, and not one leaf burned. The easiest thing to burn is a little thin leaf. They refused to burn. There was 2 of them actually, and there was still plenty of water here. This is late in the year, September, October. Everything's dry except the spring here is wet. There was no heartwood. There was no hollow spot. This thing cooked internally. I have to show that. That's a 4 foot diameter one. It's hard to figure out the diameter, but it's about 4 feet in diameter. This I just put in here yesterday. Incidentally, this same video I'm showing is the same as Peggy Hall from yesterday. I'm just going to use different words.
Sure.
I wanted to put this in here so people could see what's going on internally with these trees. These are the 2 tallest trees on the planet. Your coastal redwood, which is one of 15 redwoods in the whole world. There's actually 15. And Douglas fir, the second tallest, king of the pine family. These are toddlers when it comes to these 2 trees. These are maybe 3 feet in diameter. But notice the middle of the trees, the
Yeah.
discoloration, a different color. That's the non-conductive tissue or heartwood of the tree. It's dead tissue. The sapwood is towards the perimeter, and usually lighter. In most of these, it's lighter. That's the sapwood that's keeping it alive. On these trees at this size, there should be 0 heartwood. These are acting like a 90-year-old human. They shouldn't have this much heartwood. They should have a speck in the middle or 0, all sapwood through and through. But I believe they've been cooked from the inside out. At what rate, I don't know if it was really fast or very slow, but this happened, within a day or 2. They completely cooked from the inside out. And if they were water lovers, there'd be a hollow spot and they'd be black inside. And I have that picture coming up. So this is
Wow.
what's going on. They're cooking from the inside out. These aren't super old trees. They're in a bottomland soil with great water, great soil. They're just little ones. And they're 90% dead already. These are your oaks. Now the oaks hold the water. Same thing, but look at them trying to burn internally. All over, there's little spots that are black, little cavities from a branch that was cut off or in the middle. They're burning from the inside out, the oaks. This is, I think it's a coast live oak, I believe. But I just wanted to show the difference. Whatever the tree is that holds the most water, it's the one that burns first, which of course is backwards. But we're going to move on. It's Mount Whitney down by Lone Pine, and I'm going to talk about a fire right over there in a little canyon. That'll
Oh,
be
it's
later.
beautiful. Okay.
Okay, so this is Los Angeles, the big one, Palisades.
Oh God.
None,
Oh
none,
my goodness.
none of the pictures are mine, and I tried to get the clearest ones, especially the ones showing trees or some type of an anomaly. That was a car, I believe. What? I guess this is what's going on. That whole structure, I think it was a garage, probably a 2-car garage, and that was a car in front. But to the left, of course, here's a bush, didn't want to burn. And the whole background, we've got trees.
Wow. Yeah. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. I
Yeah,
just like,
stop me when you feel like interrupting and get in there and tell me give me your 2 cents. I don't want to hog this
no,
spotlight.
no, please go. Cause, this is,
Okay.
well, I do want to share something about the organics, but I want you to keep going with this because I have some things around the organics I want to share, but it's
Okay.
just the same. It's the same with the melted aluminum or melted rims. The all the windows are gone out of the cars. That's not normal, you guys. In a
Yeah.
regular car fire, it doesn't just melt the windows. It breaks them. Like I've seen pictures of a great breaking, but the windows are all gone. What do you say about that, Robert?
Well, the 2 fire captains, Matt and John Lord and Matt Dakin, they were both fire captains, both 30 years experience. So combined 60 years of working for the fire departments. They'd go on calls all over the cities in Petaluma and Santa Ramon. They said in that 60 combined years, they'd never seen a vehicle on fire that had their aluminum rims melted out or the windows melted out. Never. That's a lot of years. Incidentally, when I go out to my 46th aftermath, every single vehicle was 0 exception. They are melted out.
Yeah.
And some of these vehicles are sitting by themselves in the dirt I don't know, 100 feet from anything, just dirt or pavement.
That's what happened in Maui.
And of course, your aluminum starts melting at 1221 degrees. That's the starting point. Then to get really liquefied, it probably goes above that. The auto glass starts at 2500 degrees, and I'm sure it goes much above that to get it flowing. The weapon doesn't seem to get up to 4000 degrees because the bodies would start melting and sagging, and they haven't been. And the steel rims. But aluminum and glass, unbelievable. Everyone I've seen with zero exception. And that's around by now 800 cars or vehicles, whatever they
Mhm.
are. Same thing happened to the vehicles on 911. Um,
Is this LA?
Supposed to be.
Okay.
I could have got something out of order. I'm sorry if I did. Because these are big oaks on a flat and eucalyptus in
Wow.
the background. Nothing left, but here there's actually some black.
Hmm.
So possibly the fire department got there. I don't know. That's supposed to be down there, but perhaps it wasn't. I'm finding this often when I look through the internet on Google Images. You're scrolling along for these fires. Most every house you see, it's burning on the roof
Yeah,
from the top down instead of lapping up against the sides.
that's right.
And then the house itself is on fire, and all the way around it, there's zero organics on fire.
That's right.
Um,
And it looks like this guy's upset because there's no water. Oh wait. Oh no, he looks like he's maybe spraying
it's
water.
wet. It's wet out
Okay,
there.
I see, I see.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
Oh, look at all those trees.
Now these pines, since it's Southern California, these are probably Torrey pines, which is an indigenous pine to Southern California, right on the coast. That's what they look like. Long needles, real open. These things are right above the vehicles, and I've got, I think, two of these shots. They're the close proximity. I mean, your pine, the whole pine family, all in all, is probably the most flammable or combustible plant family in the world. There's 9 different genera with the pine family: pine, spruce, fir, larch, true cedars, false cedars, and a couple others from Japan. They burn more than anything else because most of our forests around the world are the conifers in the pine family. But lately, they're not burning. Same place, I believe, on the far left. Not too
Look at
clear
that.
here.
And look at all of those trees.
Yeah, and they didn't want to burn up, but look at these vehicles. They were hot. That's why I say these fires do not recognize the organics. It's a different type of flame. And
Hmm.
I'm not going to pretend I know the composition of these flames. Somebody does. On the
Okay.
right are Canary Island pines from the Atlantic Ocean. They're out there.
But wait, this is really interesting because this is like it's this one side. Were these other cars on the right there at the same
I,
time?
I don't know. And you
We don't
notice
know, yeah.
a bunch of them are Teslas and electric. But I mean, nothing happened to them, so I can't.
Oh, on the right-hand side, they're Teslas? Because
Yeah,
those are way more flammable than gas cars.
yeah, the white, the black, but I mean, they're not involved in this, so I don't have
Yeah.
anything to say
Yep.
about
Yep.
them. Really. Uh,
Okay.
Amazing. Forest
Amazing.
fires don't burn trees anymore. This is the same spot. See the car over there, the white Tesla?
Yeah.
It's the same from, there's your pine right above these vehicles.
Wow. It's like right above it.
It takes my breath away when I walk into one of these scenes. And if I get there early enough, and the only answer I come up with is a whole different flame. We've seen this already in all over for 7 years. There's always the plastic bins. Unless they get you out of there and they don't let you in, they steal all the property off of your private property, no matter what it is.
I
Even if
have
it's
one too.
not
I'll show you.
combustible, they they want to make it safe. That's what they always say. Yeah, plastics
Yeah.
aren't burning or melting unless they're next to metals or liquids like water. There's an overall. Um, I tried to get the clearest ones. And notice
Yeah.
people talk about the clean streets. I guess the street sweepers came through again. A normal forest
What?
fire, there would be messy streets everywhere, but they're always clean. Even Santa Rosa. Uh,
Why? You're right. Plus the wind, if the wind is carrying
yeah,
ash everywhere, it's going to go onto the street.
look at your pictures of Lahaina from the air. You'll see the same thing.
Oh my
Why are
goodness.
they spotless? From the air, same area.
Why
Amazing.
are they? So you don't have any ideas why that would happen?
Oh, the cleanliness. Uh, I'd have to really give it some deep thought. I don't
That
think
is
the
really
flying
weird.
embers, I don't think the flying embers they talk about, of course, is the same flying embers that we would normally see.
Hmm.
And perhaps they don't have any. volume to them where you'd see them land on the street and there'd be something there, a leaf or whatever it is that's burned. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's beyond
That is
me.
so weird.
Yeah, amazing. Look at all the trees in this. What did the fire play hopscotch and jump over the conifers and forget to burn them? There's plenty of pines in there.
Yep.
Yeah. There's the same photo you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a doozy one.
I don't think these are the rich people. This looks like normal
No.
sized houses and
And
no,
also, there's no fridge and there's no porcelain toilet and there's no stove. Like
and where's the
usually,
glass?
yeah.
The glass in the homes I rarely find unless it's on the edge or a small building. I'll see some melted on the side where the house used to be. I'll see some melted and coagulated and like, wow, what did that? Just from a
Hmm.
wood fire? No, the
Hmm.
nails, the gutters, the bolts, the hinges, all that other stuff is what's really doing it. This was a pretty good shot with all the trees. Some of those are actually eucalyptus.
Look at
Southern
that
Cal,
house right in the middle. I wonder if it's got a smart meter because that's the other thing we talked about is smart meters.
yeah, I'm still on the fence with that one, but there is a lot of facts. Orleans house, I don't know if you talked to her. She took the smart meter off her house, had them change it. Santa Rosa fire, the tubs. Every house on her street burned up, but not hers. She didn't have
I
a smart.
just I just did a whole video on the smart meters, Robert. You should check it
Yeah.
out. It's because
Yes.
of the lithium batteries. That's why.
And I thought maybe it's a backfeed through the wires from the street, all the backfeeding going to those. I don't know, but it doesn't account for the cars or metal sheds in your
True.
backyard.
That's
Those,
true.
yeah, we don't have all the answers. We're just trying.
I think it's a combination. I think my friend who works for national security, she told me that Maui Fire, it needed to have a lot of departments, people are all departments in the government and the Defense Department are, they're compartmentalized. So they don't know what other people are doing. And she said that there had to be a lot of different departments working on this event, on this attack, and they may not have even if known what they were doing because it's all compartmentalized. So they're just working. They just have a project. So
Good,
I think that that's part of
good
it too.
point.
Because go ahead.
Yeah, good point. That's true. I kept this mostly for the trees. Trees and homes are gone. Not much black showing, is there? If you ever see pictures of a burned up house in a residential, there's always tons of black and partial
Hmm.
houses. To this
Yeah,
day, I've
they
not
they
seen
don't burn to
one.
the ground.
That's right. I've not seen one partial house in 7 years.
Oh my gosh. There's a building in on the Kona side, I forgot about this, where the top part burned. We think it was an insurance claim thing, but the top is totally burned and it's all black. I got to take a picture of that. Dang,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
There is one in the Santa Rosa fire that somebody took from the air. I've seen it before where a house is cut in half and perfect. One half the house is okay, the other half is just missing.
That's
Whoa.
normal in a fire. That'll happen. More than
Here-
just disintegrating to
Yep.
nothing.
Here's a few timbers on the right that are black, and perhaps the fire department got here and put it out. I don't know
Mhm.
how hard it is to put out this type of electrical type fires. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that when if a Tesla, if a electric vehicle gets on fire, it takes over 2 hours to put out because of the lithium battery,
Yeah, and
because of the
sometimes they give
battery.
up. They just don't want to use all the water on them.
Yeah.
This one everybody I think has seen. It's come up a lot, and they're talking about it was a ground fire here and it didn't reach the conifers. Oh, really? That's why the houses were burned. They love to come up with excuses. This
Yeah.
happens to be the tallest of the four cedars in the world. There's only four. True cedars are in the pine family. This is from the Himalaya. Deodar cedar, the big one in the middle, and the one right here by the car. And I
Hmm.
believe there's some more. There's a row of them. They should have burned up like a pine. There's lower branches. The flames would have reached them. That's just not what's going on. The cars are
Hmm.
toasted. There's never paint ever. Amazing.
Wow,
And I
you're
just hope that
right.
I hope
I
the
didn't think
people
about
got
that.
out. That's all I hope is that these people got out because I don't believe when this weapon hits your car, I don't think you have a chance to get out. It's already too late. Like in paradise.
And in Maui, everybody on Front Street.
Yeah. And
Oh my
I might be
God.
getting ahead of myself, but I did want to say I believe people were burning up in the ocean off Maui. I think the water was electrified.
That's
I don't
right.
know.
That's
I
right.
don't know how far out, 100 feet, 10 feet, or a mile. I don't know, but I heard people passed away out in the water. Like,
My friend who again works for national security, she has a friend who told her he went over to help with the body recovery. He had to sign a non-disclosure, and he was literally pulling bodies that were that this is weird because he was pulling bodies that were in a petrified position swimming. They were
Yeah,
swimming, but they were frozen, like the frog that I've shown. So
that's
something hit them.
that's
Something.
what I believe too. When it hits you,
It
um,
happens fast, which is good.
I believe so. That's what I was going to say. This came up on the internet yesterday, and I
Wow.
keep talking about the metals are on fire. And guess what? Why is a fire hydrant burning?
Why is a fire hydrant on fire? That is the most insane picture I've ever seen.
Yeah, and somebody want to say, well, that's maybe used for gas. So they're going to try to make up something and throw you off. The metal is on fire. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And if it's gas, how is it
Yeah,
gas on the outside of the cover? Like, oh my
people
gosh,
love
it's
to throw you off
water.
base. It
Oh,
doesn't.
they're trying really
It's
hard.
not. It's, oh, and here I talk about aluminum rims melting out or chunking out. It's just my term. And some do come out. They just fall in these big chunks, and that may be the aluminum or the alloy. I don't know which is which. I'm not a metal person, but sometimes they're not flowing. They're in these big weird chunks, and chalky to a point, chalky looking, really weird. I'm sure this is one of the newer photos they've taken. There's whole developments just missing. Same as all the other fires. We've never had fires in the city that I know of, ever in California. And that's all it is now. We're burning cities to the ground and leaving the trees. I hope
Mhm.
people can wake up to what's really going on and turn their TV off, throw their TV in the garbage can.
I hope so.
I'm going to move on here. Now, some of these pictures are the next fire, the Eaton fire to the east, perhaps 50 miles or
Hmm.
something. All the same footprints. I don't know if I've mixed these up back and forth. These are giant oaks. I can't tell from here which species, but they're all dried out. Oh, the one on the left, it's all dried out. Normal wood fires would turn all the leaves brown for 20 and 30 feet in the air. All the leaves would be brown, and above that would be green, because one happened here in Castro Valley where I'm at. Some kids lit a little grass fire. All the oaks there were brown for 20 feet in the air. I went up there and I analyzed the whole thing. They didn't burn up because oaks are non-combustible, but they did turn brown from the ambient heat from the 3 and 4 foot tall grass. Didn't happen here, and these are houses burning up.
Wow.
Yeah,
And the engine block, the engine block's melted.
just and there's nothing in that engine area that would warrant that melting. You wouldn't get belts and hoses and plastics getting to those temperatures. Not happening. The dashboard and all the seats, no way. But yet every vehicle looks the same. This one I kept because in the back is an Italian stone pine, which are heavy-bodied trees with monster limbs, and generally they're wider in their canopy than they are in their height, usually, and flat topped. They're huge things, monsters. No effect there, but right above the house, wasn't there giant flames? Well, yes, but of course they don't recognize the organic matter.
But look at that. But look at the bark. It's brown. It's kind of black. So it was
Yeah,
touching it, but it didn't burn. It didn't
yeah,
like
yeah.
burn up.
Yep. And this tree in front that's burned on the right, I'm not sure what it is, but I'll bet it contained a ton of water. It's the only reason those are burning up like that.
Hmm.
And there's your vehicles and just amazing. This one's damning. Green on every side. This, I don't know
Wow.
what this was, a cottage or I can't tell, but really? Show me a burned up tree. That's why they've taken the word forest out of forest fires and just call them wildfires now. A brand new
Right.
term.
That's right.
Or the biggest thing they do nowadays, they look at this and the first thing they say is, looks like climate change. What does that
That's what they're blaming it on, and that's disgusting.
what does that how does that happen? Where's the ignition point? What is no matter if that was true or not, what does that have to do with a fire?
It's not true because there's been so many scientists that say there's no global danger or climate danger.
I
Climate
would
change
know.
happens
I
every
would
minute of the
know.
day.
I would know when I'm at 11,000 feet and I'm looking at all the plant life. It has not changed in 50 years of mountain climbing. All the plant life's the same. Sea level, trees down there, everything's the same. And of course, with your toes in the sand and the ocean going over your toes, it's in the same spot it was when I was a little toddler. Nothing's changed except their lives.
Yes.
Some pretty
Beautiful.
places in the High Sierra, which they're taking away from us. They're constantly making new rules to keep you out.
Yes, they
all,
are.
all the
Yeah.
time. Trails, four-wheel drive roads, they're always shortening them more and more and more. Turnouts are putting boulders in the way. Wherever there's two lanes going through cities, they're taking one lane away, spending the money to take a lane away to congest and coagulate traffic. No right turns, no left turns. The green, what do you call them? Crosswalks, the green everywhere, every state too. Even Canada, I found out they're putting these green crosswalks over lights, over signs, and just coagulating traffic. Red zones everywhere. They're trying to get us out of our cars. And it's real evident, even in these parks, they make a new parking lot here and shrink it. So there's not enough parking for everybody.
And that's all by design. They're trying to make the smart cities, which are the 15-minute cities,
That's
and
right.
just put people on top of each other. And that just equals more control.
Yeah, and if anybody goes to Yosemite National Park in Yosemite Valley, you used to just pull over
Yep, that's
pretty
right.
much anywhere and look at the cliffs and waterfalls. Now they've put curbs in everywhere, so you have to keep driving. Then you get to the parking lot. And we went up there on a Wednesday, a nice slow day. The parking lot was full. And then they put little wooden cutesy fences around the meadows. You can't walk out in the meadows now.
Oh my
Same,
gosh.
same with 9,000 feet up at Tuolumne Meadows, the highest pass road in
I've
California.
been there. I've
You
been there.
come
I've
down,
been to
you come,
Yosemite.
yeah, you come down the hill and you see the meadows and you used to just pull over.
Hmm.
No, they put curbs in at 9,000 feet. You can't stop. And when you do pull over, you can't leave the parking area. You can walk along the side of the road. They put a fence in. You cannot walk out in Tuolumne Meadows anymore.
Wow.
And the signs you see is sustainability signs.
Makes me
Okay,
mad.
let's move on.
Makes me so
It's
mad.
terrible.
It
Um,
is, and this is why people need to be speaking up, and we need to be
yeah,
we need to be looking at our general plan, because this is what's coming for Big Island. They're wanting nature to be preserved for nature.
yeah, we're not
That's what they
allowed.
say.
And I travel a lot to all the different types of parks, county, city, state, and federal. They're doing it across the board. And anyway, um, when I see these tires, sometimes I go to a yard and they're a hoarder of car parts and cars and tires and rims and all this stuff. And then I see this polyester cord. I put on a close-up lens and take a close-up picture. Huh. Okay. I think there's one little steel belt in here to keep it on the rim, one little wire. But all the rest, which is 99%, they look like this. Steel belts inside, burning completely. There's never a piece of rubber left at all. So it's one or the other. And it maybe is one out of 200 tires are like that. The rest are steel belted and they're just missing. And I don't care if they're sitting alone out in the dirt with no grass that burned around them or nothing. They're just sitting by themselves. This is how they look. Almost every fire aftermath, unless they've cleaned them up. Okay, I'm gonna
Wow.
move on.
Wow.
This is
Oh yeah.
this is where they put a gentleman in jail. You want me to talk about this?
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about the arson that they're, because this is what they're also claiming.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that there's not arson. I'm saying, it could be a mixture, because they could be trying to have a scapegoat, and they could be paying, homeless people. Hey, I'll give you $100 if you go do this or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but I know
Yes.
that these are not natural fires. So,
Yeah.
and they are blaming innocent people, like
Yeah.
not only this gentleman, but wasn't there a woman hiker who was blamed for the Paradise Fire, and she's still in jail?
No, they blamed it on PG&E, which we
Oh,
know who.
PG&E. There was a
Yeah.
woman that maybe she was on blamed for another one, because I thought that I heard that
Oh,
it had.
I'm getting to her. She's coming up.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So I'm gonna only do three, but there's at least 9 people in jail. One's in
Okay,
prison now.
can you do a stop share so we can just see you? There we go.
Oh, um, there's at least 9 people in California in jail and one in prison for being a supposed arsonist. None of them are guilty. None of them. I've seen all the fire aftermaths. Um, I did want to show those pictures, but I get
Sure,
back to
sure.
it. Oh, okay. Uh,
However you want to do it.
yeah, I want to show this. Um, I went up to this fire called the Hopkins Fire on the Russian River system at a little community called Calpella by Lake Mendocino. Many homes were burned up, and I was there before they ever put anybody in jail. And I found this parking block. This is about 30 feet long with the little wood stud that is pounded in the ground with a hammer, and they bolted up to that. It's a homemade thing, all painted red. Every 8 feet was one of these bolt patterns that burned, like that one. That's the only place this 30-foot board burned is where the bolts were. I have many others, but I only wanted to put a few here. That anomalies everywhere in that fire. California bay trees were there. And here's the gentleman that's in jail. These are the California bays on the left. They're right next to a mobile home that burned up completely, flat to the ground. The bays are very flammable. They have oils in them that you can just light right on fire. No exceptions. None of the bays burned, and the houses were directly underneath. So this guy was just standing there watching the fire, and they threw him in jail.
Oh,
Incidentally, that one, I talked to a gentleman that lost his mobile home, and he liked to grow marijuana with his permits and such. His mobile home's gone. His container freight was closed, he said, yet the whole inside was completely incinerated. He wasn't sure how it happened.
wow.
And he also was growing his marijuana in this makeshift plastic enclosement with the plastic sheeting on top so the sun could come in. I mean, painter's plastic, tarps, probably 40 feet long with multiple plants. All the plants were wilted. The whole top, all the plastic, thin plastic, not one hole in it anywhere. So much for your flying embers.
Wow. Where was
None.
this?
This is in the Hopkins fire.
Wow.
Anomalies all over that community. I spent a whole day there and I came back another day. This whole day. Then I find they took this guy and put him in jail. He went through the courts, 12-person jury. He's in jail now or prison for 21 years. He's done nothing. Nothing. Okay, this is
That's right.
Alexandria in Redding, California. This was the
This is
Fawn fire. I've talked to her lawyer. He's a federal guy out of Modesto or Oakdale. I don't trust him. He doesn't believe me and kind of hung up on me. The Fawn fire, this is
wait,
it.
wait, wait. Go back to her for a second.
Yep.
So she is being blamed for the fire in Reading.
That's right, the Fawn fire, the most recent one. The Carr
Yes,
fire
yes.
was
Look
before
at
it.
her face. She's terrified. This woman is
She is.
terrified.
And they're
And
brainwashing her into making her think that she actually did it.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
she's
Yeah,
not a super scientist. No,
and
she
let me
didn't
just tell
find it.
you guys, when you get a public defender, you are giving up your right to speak. You're giving up your right to speak in court. You are basically telling the court that you are, what's the word that they use? I can't remember the word, but that you don't know anything and that
Right,
you're incompetent. It's you're
right.
incompetent. And in this lawyer who doesn't have your back and works for the bar, which stands for British something
Really?
accreditation.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually for Britain, Great Britain,
Okay.
not for the United States. So just want to tell you guys all that. And that
Okay.
poor woman, I feel really
I
that goes
went
out
up
to
there
her.
before they put her in jail because I was going to Oregon actually. Thought, okay, I spent a whole day here and got a motel. Um, I met this person, so I don't like to trespass. So I met the person. I didn't have the heart to tell him what's happening. This is a 2-story house. That's all that's left. And look at the background. On the left, the tall one's a digger pine or gray pine, we call them. The next is either Douglas fir or a coast redwood. I think it's a Douglas fir planted. Then all the oaks in the background, another digger pine, and a ponderosa pine, and at least 4 to 5 different species of oak trees. What burned? The oak tree to the right, which is probably a canyon live oak with all the water in it. I never seen anything like this in my wildest dreams.
Look at all the trees in the freaking forest back there.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
insane.
Everywhere you look, no trees burned. I
No
mean,
glasses in this house. There's nothing. You can't
no,
see a fridge. You see nothing.
yeah.
It's
And
just disintegrated.
my most damning evidence I've taken in all my 7 years is at this fire, and they're incarcerating her, and then took her to a psychiatric evaluation to see if she was crazy. This is going to be on the cover of my book, Microwave Forest Fires. Either this one or the next one. This is still there. They haven't found this. It's on a back street lane, a whole fence line. Just the nails were on fire, and the ground, of course, down low. This is still there. What kind of fire doesn't burn up to the top and drop the nails on the ground? I think when they turn the weapon off, the fire just goes out immediately. And it
Yeah.
never spreads. As long as it's on fire, it doesn't spread. Oh God, this is unbelievable. This technology.
Well, what's really interesting is that in the Palisades fire, the guy said, "This is the worst fire I've ever seen." But he goes, "But it's not moving out of Palisades. There's no line. There was no line, even though the wind was so crazy. There was no line for the fire in Palisades. He said it was staying in Palisades."
Isn't that something? This is poor Ed Wakerman, where I already analyzed Paradise. I'm sorry, Mariposa, California, in the foothills on Highway 140 going to Yosemite Valley, called the Oak Fire. And this old gentleman, for whatever reason, they grabbed him at gunpoint and took him into jail. And he's 71 years old, can hardly walk. He's diabetic. I mean, he's pretty crippled. They said they saw him running from the fire. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, who's not gonna run from the fire?
Well, yeah, but I don't think he could run very fast.
Oh,
But all lies. I happened to analyze this maybe a year before they put him in jail, and I have damning evidence from this one.
so I
I've
want you
talked.
to share the story about when you went into the courthouse
I
with him.
will. I
Okay.
decided I wanted to try to do something about it, so I went up there on his first court date. I called his lawyer, Rick Squaglia. Uh, anyway, and I went up there and I said, "Watch my videos. You'll see what's really going on. This is a lie. This poor old gentleman's done nothing. He's harmless." Went up there and went in the courthouse, the oldest courthouse in California, built in the 1800s. Very quiet. I come in there and I sit down, and there's hardly anybody in there. That lawyer turned around and saw me and stared at me. Then he walked over to the prosecutor, and they're both always there. They prosecute everybody, and he defends everybody. Because this Ed Wakerman was about the eighth person, and the lawyers didn't move. They represent everybody. So he looked, saw me, walked over to the prosecuting attorney. They whispered, and they're looking at me. Huh. Then they go over and talk to the judge. All three are whispering and looking at me. Then they went in the back room, disappeared. When they came out, the judge went up to his podium and said, "We're canceling this court date with no reason, nothing, no postponement, nothing." He says, "We're just going to cancel this for today." And they left the room. I was dumbfounded. And at that moment, I finally understood the term kangaroo court. Now I know
That's
what it
right.
means. That's what it is. This
That
poor
is.
old gentleman's been in jail for a year and a half with no bail, and there's no evidence against him. I have all the evidence.
My gosh, that's
That
really
this was
sad.
an old lady I heard. I never met her. She was a botanist, and I wanted to meet her. She had flowers everywhere, the neighbors said. Her mobile home was gone, no trees burned. The vehicles all look the same. These are steel
That.
rims. And down below, the same lane, oh, here you go. These are all your mid coniferous zone trees, including incense cedar, white fir, Doug fir, ponderosa pine, and even some lower gray pine. Nothing burned up. And this was, oh, this is a different property, but look where the burn is, mostly where the bolts are. Fire doesn't do that.
Mm-mm.
This was a B&B. I even called them. They never answered the phone. Then I found from a neighbor up there that, oh, it burned to the ground, their B&B place to stay. Look at the burn marks. This sign is still sitting there. They didn't take the
Wow.
sign away. Uh, yeah, there's your hardware again. This board I have. It fell on the street side, so it's out in the public easement. So if anything, I'm not stealing, I'm picking up litter. I'm cleaning, I'm doing the world good. This fell over and it was, this is when I first took the pictures of it. It had a nail in every burn spot, and
Wow.
moving it around, the nails fell out. They were barely in it. What kind of fire stays right with the nail and doesn't spread up or down? And then I just dropped it there. When I came back this last, whatever it is, March, it was deep grass that grew in and the board was still there. I have it in my possession now. The most damning evidence of all these fires. And I've kind of given up on this case. I'd like to help the old gentleman, but what can I do? They won't,
He,
we were trying to get me in there, a small group of us tried to get me on the stand, but they said, "Oh no, I have to be a certified arborist. I have to have all this extra stuff instead of just my testimony." So they weren't going to allow me to be on the stand as a
wow.
professional witness. Nope, I'm not a professional. They wanted me to have a degree. All this
Yeah.
jumps through all these hoops. Like, really? I want to bring
Yeah.
that
Well,
board
that's
up.
by design.
I want to bring that board up there and I don't know, bring it to the police station or something and go, "Here's your real evidence."
See, the only thing is they're all in on it. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
They're all in on it.
that's that whole kangaroo court thing.
That's why
Unbelievable.
they call it court. Well, you play games on a court, tennis court, basketball court. That's why they call it that because it goes back and forth and it's a racket. The whole thing is a racket. And
Wow.
yeah, it's actually totally against our freedoms. I
Right.
could go into that, but who's
Right.
this?
This guy's name's Maynard. He was a professor or something in the Bay Area, and they pinned all these fires on him, multiple fires up, I believe, north of the Dixie fire in Greenville, up around Mount Lassen, the volcano. I analyzed those fires. He didn't do anything. Impossible, unless he's a
Mhm.
super scientist. No way. Um, I'm sorry. Let me retract that. That wasn't Mr. Maynard. This is the guy for the park fire out of Chico.
Oh, go back. I can't see him.
Yeah, that's the guy they put in jail.
From
And
Chico? Butte
uh,
County,
yeah, somewhere in that area for the park fire, just this last year.
the park
Um,
fire, yeah.
I believe they had a crisis actor on TV. She was crying and saying, "I don't know why this guy. I saw him light the car on fire and push it down the hill."
Oh, I heard that, yeah.
Well, guess what? That's the car. Why are the windows melted out? She's lying.
Yeah.
I call her a crisis actor. I'll call her out right now. Yeah, no way. And here's the pictures from the park fire. This car's by itself. The ground's not even black anywhere. What lit that car on fire and took the windows out? And this is upper foothill belt. These are gray pines again.
These poor
These are
people.
knob cones in the back or young ponderosas. Where's the combustible materials to warrant this type of burn? Uh-uh. He didn't do anything. He's probably somebody they didn't like. Maybe he didn't pay his taxes on time. Same fire, same trees. I don't know what this was. Is this the top of a house, the shingles? I can't even tell.
Wow, I
And
don't
the
see
tanks,
anything
people
there.
say the explosions are these tanks. No, I've not seen one blown up propane tank of any size. And vehicles, all the gas in a car, the gas may still be in them. I don't know. Next time I get to one of these vehicles, I'm going to shake it and see if I hear the gas in there.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, you're right.
I don't
You're
know.
right.
I can't say for sure that gas blew
Yeah.
up, but they say, oh, that's because the gas blew up.
But if
Uh,
the gas blew up, then how's the car still there? Because it would blow up the
that's
car.
right. That's right. They're not ripped apart.
Yeah. None of these cars are ripped apart.
No, they never are. I just wonder about the gas theory, and I don't know. I'm just guessing. So same area, a little bit higher up, it looks like more coniferous forest. The oaks here changing to black oaks, and the same ponderosas mostly here. Yeah, there might even be a sugar pine. Look at that Jeep. Wow, what did that? I don't think there was any brush here on the ground. Usually you see little stubs and little tiny trunks. This was light grass and needles. That was it. What happened to that Jeep? Yeah. Same thing, same area. On the left is an extreme water holding capacity tree, a California sycamore, the only native sycamore in California, has a wild looking growth habit. I'll bet you that guy was cooked from the inside out because of the water holding capacity.
Yeah.
And the one pine dead center was probably pretty close to this
Yeah.
uh, home. That's the only reason it burned. Yeah.
That's right.
I've got
Yeah.
secret places everywhere.
Holy man, that's gorgeous.
Places I do not tell.
I would really like to go swimming there.
Um, the mountain fire now. We're down the Malibu mountain fire
Oh
months
yeah,
ago.
yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that. It's the same footprint again. Um, whatever that tree is on the left, I can't tell, but that one tried to burn up, probably because of the water holding capacity. Almost always, those are the ones that burn first, the ones that should burn dead last. I kept
Oh,
this mostly for the trees, no black anywhere. This is war, and I hope people understand this. These are not natural
they're
fires.
attacking us.
If
These
these
poor
were natural
people.
fires, the trees would at least be halfway burned, if not completely. The fires came from the forest generally in old times. A forest fire comes from the forest and then goes into a residential and perhaps burns a house or two, and the firemen get them out. Now it's the opposite. The houses are on fire and it doesn't even burn the forest.
And how is it getting the first house on the cliff? That is incredible.
All that dead grass didn't burn. Where'd the fire come from? That's when I looked straight up in the air.
Wow.
That fire came from above. I don't know how. I don't know delivery systems. All that is a guess. A boat, a plane, a jet, a satellite, a drone. We don't know.
That's
But
right. That's right, Robert. It doesn't have to come from the sky. I love that you said boat, drone. We don't know.
yeah,
It can
and
come from those other places.
people even talk cell towers. I don't know. But all I know is this thing came down or across, and it's not a flying ember unless the dead grass would have burned. You can see
Hmm.
the deer trails. That's what deer do. They go along, find their pattern to get around houses and go to plant areas. You can see a little trail there. Um, where did it come from? Didn't come across the hillside. Still the same mountain fire, which was another horrific one. They're going to burn all our cities down if we don't stop them.
Yeah.
And
And
you can
that's for
see
smart cities.
that's right. And you can see they're gearing it up. They don't care what month it is. I bet it could be snowing or raining. They'll burn down a whole development. Like Colorado about 4 years ago, I think on the last day of it, one year or the first day of January or something in Colorado, 919 homes on a winter day when it's freezing. And none of the grassland around it burned. I should have put the photo in here. And this is January now.
Yeah.
Here's a dumb car. If you see the word smart on anything, don't buy it.
Do not buy it.
Even the water, I don't trust it. Smart meters, that's the first thing they did is smart meters. PG&E, the
Hmm.
largest corporation on the planet, is PG&E, owned by BlackRock. I don't
Hmm.
know if I
That's
should
right.
say that, but that's the truth. They own most power companies around the world, which I found out from Deborah Tavares. Well,
That's right.
guess what? Here, that's why they want everything electric, of course. They make more money.
That's right, Mike. That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying,
Yeah, it's
Robert.
simple. It's simple. First thing they ever did, I believe, is the smart meters in our area at least. And smart meters is smart for them, but dumb, but terrible for us. Now there's nobody meter maid that comes out and checks your meter anymore. All those people lost their job. It's done internally. Yeah.
And if they're feeding in from the inside, they can extend something outside. That's what this one whistleblower for direct energy weapons in Antarctica was talking about. He said there's this one, I can't remember what apparatus it is, but he said it's only supposed to receive information, he says, but it can also transmit. He said, and they don't know this, you don't know this, it can transmit. And that is I don't know if that's what is available in smart cities, in the smart meters, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, many electronics they build nowadays have dual purposes that we're not even aware of. I wasn't aware of.
Mhm.
I'm going to stick to the trees and the things I know. There's so many categories to go into. I've got to stick to what I know. That's a Western grebe, if anybody wants to know. Um,
Beautiful.
I took a vacation 2 to 3 weeks ago, went over to Olancha and Mount Whitney area where Lone Pine is, and I noticed there had been 3 fires. So, okay, I've got to go look at them. This one's called the Borel Fire, Borel, east of Bakersfield, California, along the main Kern River system, above the gorge where the river comes out of Lake Isabella out to the flatlands of Bakersfield. Above it on the south side was a huge fire I wasn't aware of that burned 223 homes, I believe. So I went up there and everything was open. And they did have a stockyard. I should have taken pictures. All these brand new 10-wheeler trucks to haul stuff off properties. Spanking brand new trucks, a whole fleet. I see that often. Even if it's tree equipment and tree people, I talk to them. They're from another state and they have brand new trucks and chippers. I don't know where they got the capital to buy all this. Santa Rosa was like that. There was brand new white excavators everywhere and people in suits, all dressed in these suits like you're going into a bio lab or something. And I tried to talk to them and I didn't recognize their language. Scandinavian or Russian or somewhere way over there in the north. And So there's odd things going on with the cleanup. But I took some pictures here and it was, it's undeniable. Here again is your gray or digger pine. The needles are hanging on the ground, right in the flames. They dry out, turn black. I see this often.
So I
Uh,
have a question for you about that. You're saying that there was a cleanup crew in white and they were speaking a different language.
yeah, and I didn't recognize it. And they were, north of Europe. They weren't French. I would recognize that. So it wasn't German. It was somewhere to the north, and they were imported people that are doing this work. So I can't talk to them at all, and they don't know what I'm saying. I don't think, but they're in their white suits, hazmat suits, whatever, cleaning up the Santa Rosa up on Fountain Grove area. They were up there, and I watched them, and I probably have pictures somewhere. Uh, yeah, and brand new equipment everywhere. Like, did somebody buy them all this equipment to clean up? Same with the
Yeah.
tree companies. Anyway, um,
Wow.
I try not to dwell on some of those things, but here's your pines. I've never seen pine needles that wouldn't burn in a fire.
Look at that.
I
That is
burned
insane.
campfires for 50 years, and I don't care what leaf is in my hand. Green, it could be wet. I could pour water on it, put the leaf in the fire. In 1 minute, that leaf is gone, and that's a little campfire.
Yeah.
Here's your windows, same old thing.
Wow.
This was that same fire. I followed a fence line. I finally found it. It burned where the bolts were. The bolts are on fire. Then it just turns off and refuses to climb the wood. I don't think this burned out because of the cables. I think this is a Fremont cottonwood, the one that holds the most water again. I can tell by the bark.
Wow.
Why did that happen? This was next to a creek. Granitic soils, very porous, but a creek was just not too many feet away. Why did this burn from the inside out? And how'd the fire get in there before they cut it? Multiple anomalies. So that was the Borel fire. There was 2 more, and I'll get to those. Here's one. This is just a mile out of Lone Pine, where Mount Whitney sits. There was 55 acres that burned up. There's my truck over there to the left. These were willow trees. I don't know which species, can't even tell. But of course, these are high water holding capacity trees. Willows hold more water than any other tree in California and probably many states worldwide. They're not aquatic, but they're extreme water lovers, filled with water. Look what they did. Everything I saw in this lot was hollowed out and the bark was ripped off and burned. And I looked around for grass in areas that didn't burn, and the grass was really thin and just there wasn't enough there. If the fire was burning in the grass, it'd lap up against the side of these and turn it a little bit black and then go out. It wouldn't do this.
Wow.
Shows you the water's on fire, of course, this electrical currents. This was everywhere. And even the bark has a lot of water. When I cut a willow open, if I don't slant my chainsaw away from me, sometimes the water will come out of it and soak my legs. Little geysers will come out an inch high. The pressure in the roots sends the water in little geysers out of these stumps.
Wow.
How much water is in a willow? Um, the highway's right next to me. This fence was very odd. These are big, I want to say almost railroad tie size studs. They were 8 or 9 feet apart. They all wanted to burn it at 3 feet up in the air. And of course, they had these little U-shaped nails at 3 feet.
Wow.
I couldn't understand that. Even here, this is 3 feet up where the nails attached the cross member, which had bigger nails, I presume, but everywhere. Incidentally, there's your highest mountain in the 48 states, dead center in the background, right here. If you see my arrow,
Beautiful.
That's Mount Whitney. It's a 14,000 foot group, and second highest over here with Williamson.
Wow.
Um, 3 feet high. I don't have an answer for that. Why 3 feet?
That is
And it kept going.
insane.
These are all different. Why
That
three
is
feet?
so weird.
Because the metal in the back should have ignited like they usually do, but maybe this metal is a different coating on it, whether it's galvanized or not, I don't know. And maybe it's just those certain types of nails that are doing this. See, there they are. They burn and falling like what the? I don't have all the answers. This is a different one. See, there they are. I don't get it.
Wow. Oh,
Raised
beautiful.
Point Reyes National Seashore. They're killing off the elk there because they say there's not enough water for their sustainability.
Oh
I go
my
there every
God.
2 months. The creeks are running 12 months a year. There's water there, fresh water. There's a pond there. It's never dry. What are they talking about? They're killing
They're
off the elk.
evil. They're evil
Yeah.
demons is what they
They're
are.
making up a lie. It's like, no, I go there all the time. This is the North Point, Tamales Point. They're slowly killing off the elk and
That's very
saying
sad.
they're bringing up their sustainability
Well, they're
word.
trying to slowly kill us off too.
I was just there, October. There's a creek running from a spring, and they know where the water is. They're not stupid. Um, the third fire there, it was a lavender ranch with granite soils. When you leave Lone Pine, you can take a side road that goes up to Kennedy Meadows, up to 10,000 feet. There's only one house and a little ranch where they grow lavender plants. A very nice lady. And they burned all these little cottages down that she had. I've talked to her on the phone twice now. And I wanted to come up there and she didn't know me, so she was afraid to let me go on the property. But I stayed on the road and I took pictures. There's a bolt going through it. It was starting to combust right where the bolt is. The guardrails, I've done a lot of talks about the guardrails. They're mostly burning where the giant bolt is. Sometimes completely, other times you just see the bolt sitting there in the wood. And I put this on there. I hope this is okay. I told her I'm going to try to help her. I've never met her. She's trying to get funds and clean her place up, and rebuild these little cottages. Lavender plants everywhere. It was a beautiful little area she had. And I said, I'm going to do what I can, um, to support her. So if anybody wants to write that down and donate anything, this is the information I
And
saw.
it's Delacour hyphen ranch.com.
Yeah. And she's heartbroken.
DELACOURA.
I called her last night and I told her I was doing this. I've
Yeah, I'll
never,
just spell it for the people on the radio. It's DELACOUR hyphen ranch.com. DelacourRanch.com. You can check
yeah.
that out.
Anyway, it was really sad to see this, and I think it was a natural fire. I analyzed it.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, let me show one thing while I have you here. Um, so the dog, people have seen the dog in Maui, but this was when I was researching this, and I really wish I would have found. I usually I'm really good with sources. I cannot find this picture again. Look at this cow. How does a freaking cow get looking like this? Charred. Organics, like an animal will burn from the outside in, not from the inside out. This this was from the panhandler in Texas,
I was,
and this was one picture of this cow that was up again. He was trying to run. He was trying to get away. And then I wish I would have taken another picture or screenshotted the other picture, because another one was of all of these cows that look like this, that were littered all on the ground, all on the ground. And they look like this charredness. This is not burned, you guys. It's not a regular fire. You don't have fur. You can't see a fur on a dog that's been burned. You see his skeleton. That's what you see. It's like
this
people
is
are
what
forgetting.
I reported on this in Texas also, and I saw all those pictures of cattle. It was very disturbing.
It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing because this isn't normal.
And
Like
these are
people,
mostly smaller ranches, not the giant um, cattle ranches, the huge ones. It's the
mm,
smaller ones, the more independent ones.
that's right. That's right. They want to license all of our animals. They want to take away other property. That's what they're trying to do with the Big Island General Plan. That's why, you guys, the thing what you can do, I'll do a stop now, is the thing you can do is look at your general plan, because these places that are under attack right now, that are burning, they're all set to be to smart cities. Should have seen Newsom Gruesome, the California governor. He's giddy. The man is giddy about the fact that he's going to be doing the smart city. He said, oh yeah, I talked to the Hawaii governor, and I'm checking in with my lawyers, and he's like, because of the land, and he's like, he literally is dancing. It's disgusting. It's just,
This
this
is
man is
going
just
on.
horrible.
Everybody knows about the chicken farms being targeted with, oh, they're sick. So the feds come in and get rid of all your chickens. Also in United Kingdom, I believe it's going on there. You have to register any chicken you have on your property. Why is that? And of course, I guess it's 2 years now, probably. In 1 year's time, they burned up over 100 food processing plants in the United States, and
That's right.
50 train derailments also. Like, really? It's a war on our food, our land, everything. And the feds come in, which feds are basically mouthpieces, or they do whatever the billionaires tell them to do. They come in and say, your chickens, oh, they all have a disease. We got to exterminate all your chickens when your chickens are fine. And cattle
Yeah,
and
you know what? I would take him to court, and I would say, no, I'm going to find my own expert, and we're going to go to court on this, because you're not touching my property, or you're not touching my chickens. And that's the thing, you guys, we have to stand up. Do not comply. It is scary not to comply, but find that part inside of your heart that has courage. This is our Kuleana. This is what ours to do. Robert, this is his Kuleana, what his meant to do, because he's been studying the plants for over 50 years. So thank you so much, Robert. I think I interrupted you. Do you want to finish your
no,
statement?
no, no. And Michelle, tacking on that, I talk to firemen weekly, and most of them have no clue what's going on because they're not educated in combustible materials as far as organics. They won't teach them that, so they're not aware that a eucalyptus burns more often. And most of them are butting heads with me and trying to tell me how wise and smart, and they've done this for 30 years. They're hot shots. They're great. I don't care what they can do. They don't know the combustibility of leaves, even. They don't know what a forest fire looks like. So I don't try to talk to them all the time because I get nowhere. The younger ones seem to be more open to it, but the older guys, I don't know if they want to lose, they don't want to lose their pension and they're keeping their mouths shut. I have no idea, but when you talk about they have to sign some paper before they go into Maui, or they take their cell phones away so they can't take pictures, this is World War III. They're attacking us from 10 different sides, what I figure out. But I try to just talk about fires. There's too much going on for
Yep.
me to elaborate on all these other areas. That's something for the great Deborah
Yep.
Tavares.
And I wanted to say too, my book, Great Maui Land Grab, What Caused the Maui Fire and Is Your Home Next? You can get this at greatmauilandgrabbook.com. But in it, it also talks about not just the 27 fire anomalies, the craziness. I also put in the weather modification, including what happened in Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, but also who owns America? Why is this happening? And it's happening because they need us to believe in climate change. They absolutely need us to believe that people are destroying the world so that we will be clustered in these houses, in these apartments that have They have clustered in our general plan here on Big Island. I've been fighting this plan for 6 months. We have
Wow.
another meeting on Thursday, so I'm gonna be there on Thursday as well. But that's what I wanted to share is that we have to understand that we cannot comply. You have to look at your general plan, and how you find it is just put in your town's name and general plan right after
Oh,
it. That's it. You just put in Sonoma County general plan, wherever you're at. I don't know, Chico general plan. But it's usually the county. It's usually the county general plan. And then you look at it, and when you open up the PDF, in the upper side, you'll see the toolbar. You'll say File, it'll say Edit. In the upper side, click Edit and then click Find and put into the Find area, put Clustered. See what comes up. Put Acquire and Acquisition. Because what our general plan has is they are going to inventory anybody who comes in to get a permit, a building permit. They're going to inventory what you have on your property, and then they're going to go and acquire it. They said, oh, it's just for willing homeowners. They just want to. They're just gonna do this for willing homeowners. Since when in the history of the government has the government ever just gotten property from willing homeowners? That would be never. So this is what we're fighting here on Big Island, and this is coming in your direction. So these attacks, they can happen anywhere, anytime. Have a to-go bag. I've always said this, have a to-go bag in your car.
that's right.
Have a plan for your family, just in case. Have at least 2 to 3 locations where meet here. If you can't meet here, meet here. So 2 to 3 locations and a
Right.
to-go bag. Each person should have their own to-go bag always in a car with them, and that you could just grab. So anything else lastly you want to share, Robert?
Um, a lot of people are just learning about all these different ways that we're being attacked. One of the first ways to start learning is just punch in the name of a giant corporation. I mean, a giant one, and see who the CEO is. That's a heck of a starting point. Read up on all the different CEOs. That will start giving you a huge, broad picture. And that's just one area, of course. We have to group up, tell everybody you can, get the word out, do meetings, town hall meetings. I'm starting to do all kinds of meetings now. I just don't care
Good.
anymore. I was hiding my face from some of these videos when I first started, but we have too much to lose. Right now it's World War III, and it's
It
not just
is.
starting, it's in our house now. They're attacking us full on in at least 10 categories that I know of. And this is worldwide.
Mhm.
About the only countries that are being left alone are the ones that are not owned. And that's only about 7 countries.
That's
The
right.
ones that are in our news, that our news says those are the bad guys. Are they? They're not owned by the giant corporate
That's
world.
the problem. That's
That's
the
and those are the
problem.
ones that we want to go to war against because they have a lot of commodities that our billionaire corporations want.
That's right. And these people,
Those,
these billionaires, just think they can just take people's land. Let's just destroy it. Oh, LA needs to be a smart city, is set to be a smart city and set to host the 2028
right?
Olympics. And we want it all brand spanking new with all smart cities. So let's just burn it down.
Wow.
So it's like they're demons, satanic people that are running everything. And you guys, it's up to us. And how we do this is we stand up, we go to our meetings, we go to our planning commissioners, we say, no, we do not want this. And you can even go to standtogetherhawaii.com, click on action, standtogetherhawaii.com, click on action. I show you what our general plan says, and I give you tips about what you can say. So if people are always like, what should I say? What should I say? I'm like, go to check this out. There's even a video. There's even a video you can watch. So if you don't want to read it, but it is up to us to do our kuleana. Otherwise, our children will have nothing. They will have nothing. And this is what we came to do. I really feel that this is a game. I've said this before. I feel this life is a game because we didn't come from this planet. Our bodies came from this planet, and our bodies will stay here. But our light beings came in, decided to have a human experience with the illusion of fear, because it is an illusion. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Right.
There is a higher power here that's beating your heart and breathing your body. And when you trust in that and follow your guided intuition, you will always be taken care of, just like Robert, just like me. And if you're not, then it was your time to go, and then you get to see what the whole thing was about at the end anyway. Because we're all
Yeah.
nobody gets out of here alive, you guys.
Yeah. I think your Christmas lights are killing your tree behind you.
That thing is,
The
we're
electric,
slowly taking it down. It's
the
actually like
electric
17 feet. It's actually
is
huge.
is it the
She's
electrical
gone.
current?
She's
Uh,
gone. No,
is
we don't turn her on anymore. She's
okay,
total
good.
fire hazard.
About
But
the only thing I just thought of is 90% of the people watch TV and radio, newspaper, magazines. That's where most of their information comes from. Well, in California and most of America, 6 billionaires own all of it, almost every bit of it, every radio, every TV stations, all major
that's in the book.
newspapers and all major magazines. 6 billionaires own it all. The best you can do is throw away all those. Do not use your TV for any kind of news. Get on the internet, do some real research on real people with boots on the ground, people that have explored and analyzed and um, doing their best to save the world. They're real people. They're real scientists, not the
Yep.
bought and paid for scientists that always show up where they say our experts did this and
Yeah, our
latest survey
experts.
is this. If the media's mouth is talking, they're lying.
They're
That's
lying.
narcissistic trait. And they are. I don't care which channel, pick a channel. The best you can do is get rid of the media, and then the learning begins. With that,
I love that you're on it. You're so on it. That's
I've studied a lot.
fantastic.
I've studied a lot, but I
I
try to
love
stick
it.
with my plants because that's my strong suit. Oh, these
Awesome.
are these are owl's clovers.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful. Well, Robert, thank you again so much for joining me. Any last words and where can people find you?
Best way to find me is on the internet anywhere. Type in forensic arborist Robert. Watch any of the 23 videos now, 23 videos now, or 24, 24 with you. They're worldwide on anything, and DuckDuckGo and Yandex are the best two search engines. YouTube monitors what I say, Google monitors what I say. Of course, they don't want the truth to get out. I don't have a website or a YouTube station. I'm just being interviewed by wonderful people like you.
Thank you. Yeah, I know when I was writing this book and the whole time I was interviewing, I was my whole for the year on YouTube, I had like less than 100 like two people would subscribe for like three people would subscribe for the whole year. So I was just like, "Oh my gosh." But that's just being shadow banned and that's just the work. That's just where we're at and it's all good. So if you guys are on this and you're liking, subscribing and you're commenting, I really appreciate that. And I'm just going to keep going because this is my Kuleana. This is what I'm supposed to do. And so let's just do a quick prayer and I'll let you go for your evening because I know it's late there or getting later. Infinite Creator, Great Spirit, this is a game we came to play. I truly feel that in my heart. And I just know that you are guiding each one of us, just like you are guiding Robert and his inspiration, his passion to study trees for 50 years has come to this point where he gets to show us the truth about why trees are not burning in these so-called wildfires that are literally attacks on the people and destroying their homes. So, Great Spirit, we just know that the light is shining so brightly. It gets brighter and brighter every single day on the Malibu fire, on the LA fire, on the Lahaina fire, Paradise, all of it. Any place that has been attacked, the light is shining and it will not go away until truth is absolutely 100% revealed to all people around the world. And Great Spirit, we just give so much gratitude for those who are brave enough to look at the truth, to see it for what it is and to say, no, I do not comply with this. This is not okay with me. And then they follow their own guided intuition, their own kuleana that comes through you, Great Spirit. It comes from you because their guides and their angels are always supporting them. They came to do a mission. And we just know that each person who hears this message is doing what is their kuleana. It says, I'm strong enough. I'm brave enough to do this, whatever is in their heart to do. Whether it's just sharing this video, whether it's talking to somebody at the grocery store, whether it's going to a planning commission and saying, no, I do not comply with these new general plans that will take away property. I do not comply. This is not okay because this is our kuleana right now, Great Spirit. And we trust that this world is becoming a better place and that those who do not value human life are peaceably removed from power or voluntarily stepping down, and better yet, being held accountable for the atrocities and harm that they have done to living men and women. We give that to you, Great Spirit. We give that to you, and we know that it is done. And so it is. So much mahalo, Robert. So much appreciation for you and your family. We know that you are always kept safe and you are always guided as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having me on again.
Aloha, everyone. See you next time.